Hello, this session of Derapy is brought to you by Dobby Energy, yeah?
Derapy, Season 3 of Derapy.
The Elizabeth Residency, Part 2.
Which I mean, I'm not okay with any Palestinian being murdered just for being Palestinian. I'm just saying, like, at its base, we should all be agreeing on the fact that Israel is wrong for targeting children. Like, even if you don't agree with anything else that's going on, they're wrong for targeting children.
I think that one of the things that actually got my attention and is why I decided to like allow myself to, because I don't want to make it seem like, oh, Elizabeth specific Facebook content is what turned me off to it. It's like every time I saw anybody posting about this stuff, I'd be like, ew, I don't want to involve myself in it because like I have stuff to
Yeah.
I have like other stuff to do with my life. Like I just don't want to like I don't want to do it. Like I want to laugh at memes. Like I want to like see Andrew Tate get dunked on or something. Like I don't really want to engage in like genocide like discourse. Like I just don't really like Hassan is this popular Twitch streamer and he was talking about how hard it is to be a streamer and I was like that's stupid. I got to make a podcast about this out of touch
Redacted.
and like that's the type of stuff that like I would prefer to cover instead of
Yeah.
like children. But you know what, we're here and like I'm actually here for it. Like I'm invested because I hear the Palestinians, they got brown people over there and like I'm down for the homies. What do you know about the flower thing? I didn't look into it because I wanted you to tell me about it. It's like there was somebody was like trying to bring aid. They drop off the aid as like a tactic to get people to get the aid and they like kill them or something. What's up with that?
I am not entirely sure on the flower. I have known that Israel was targeting like a lot of Palestinian like men who have families by saying like, oh, come to like this area, we have a job for you, we have work for you, or like, we have food that you can pick up for your family, and then taking them hostage and likely killing them. A lot of them haven't been heard from since then, which is also an insane thing. This is the whole thing is and I can't.
It would kind of be like the equivalent of like the United States. I think that regardless of what side of the political aisle you're on, you could probably come to the conclusion that there's like a bit of a problem at the United States and Mexico border. And it would be the equivalent of being like, well, too many people are coming over without going through the proper process. So we're going to like set up like a free lemonade stand. And when they come to get lemonade, we're going to arrest them. It's kind of like that. And like nobody would think that's cool.
No, nobody would. And it's just, and I think I know a lot of people, and even like some of my friends, the thing that I have to like remind people about is a lot of people that I know are like, yes, what's going on is bad, but the US shouldn't have a say in it. The US shouldn't be a part of it. The US shouldn't be brought into it. Like, we have our own stuff going on. And I can understand the thought process of that. However, we are funding Israel. Israel's committing a genocide. And not only that, historically, the US is kind of a military superpower, right? Like, the US is the one that gets to say, like, hey, quit that or we're going to come mess you up. And we have had a lot to say in a lot of other things that have led to like wars being ended or genocide being stopped, or like the thing. Like the US has been really good about like, hey, don't make us get involved. Like we're the mom. Don't make me come in there.
I love that.
Don't make me come in there. And then most of the time we don't have to come in there. So yeah, it's kind of on the US to be like, hey, don't make me come in there, because we should come in.
We'll shut down. Just for the record, because I just wanted to make sure that like when I brought up the flower thing, I wasn't like pulling that out of like a dream that I had or something. Oh my god, definitely cut this. I've been taking pills right before I go to sleep.
No.
Because I don't... Okay, off topic, but I guess kind of related. Whatever, I don't care. I can do it.
Having the craziest dreams lately. It's actually the same. I've been having dreams that I'm worried I'm not going to graduate high school. Like that I've been the entire like 8 years that I've been out of high school, that I've been missing classes, and I've recently gotten a letter saying like, hey, you're not gonna graduate high school if you don't show up to these years of classes that you've missed.
I think these are trauma responses, because I had a similar dream just like a night or two ago where I was really concerned about like turning in college homework. Like I thought that like I wasn't going to turn in an essay on time, or like there was a quiz that day that I didn't study for. And then I woke up and I was like, I'm 27.
Literally, like I wake up and I'm like, oh no, I'm not gonna graduate. And then I'm like, I'm 26 years old. Like,
Yeah.
there is no threat of me not graduating high school. Like, what is my brain doing?
Okay. I don't want to give people the impression that I'm doing this for no reason, because I just realized that the guy that edits the show is going to realize that some things are more funny than it matters, like as far as my reputation goes. So here's the reason why I bring up taking before I go to sleep, and they're so totally super legal, by the way. Like I bought them in a store, and the people that run that store pay taxes, I think. So I stopped drinking alcohol, which I think is like really cool. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about that. I don't know. Who cares?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. Elizabeth approves. So here's basically why. Like I was drinking like every week for like 5, 6, 7 years. You know, there's this like culture in college where like you can't be an alcoholic in college because everybody's drinking all the time, whatever. And for some reason I decided to like take that with me after college. I don't know why. And then I just decided like this weird thing happened. It was like a week or two ago. It was the night that I decided to stop drinking. I was at no free promo, we're not sponsored, and I was like drinking a beer because that's what you do. And we were all ready to go. I was with my wife and my friend Sam, and everyone was ready to leave, and I still had like 1/3 of the beer left in my glass. And like I had this weird philosophy that was probably hammered into my head because of stupid fraternity stuff. I was like, we don't waste alcohol around here. So I chugged the beer right before I leave, which is so stupid because like I'm driving, but I'm not like drunk when I'm driving, but it's still just like a stupid thing to do.
Yeah.
And I remember as I was driving my friend home, I was thinking to myself, like, why did I do that? Like, what a stupid thing to do. What's wrong with my brain? Where it's like, if I start drinking something, I can't not finish it. Otherwise, like, I don't know, like I'm a bitch or something. I don't know. Like, that's such a weird, I don't know if that's toxic masculinity. I don't know if that's just like bad fucking PTSD related. I have no idea. And I was like, this is dumb. I need to stop this. This is like a weird thing that I'm doing. So I got home and there were like 2 beers like left in my apartment. I was like, I gotta shut it down. I can't just say I'm gonna stop drinking and then be like, but they're already in the fridge. So I took them out and then I poured them out. And my wife was like, oh, you're serious. And I was like, hell yeah, babe. I'm done cutting it out. Cold turkey. Just a terrible idea, by the way. If you're ever going to stop doing drugs or alcohol, like don't just wake up and be like, we're done. It's a terrible idea. I got so sick. Like I felt horrible. I say all of that to say, and we're going to get back to the flower massacre. I've started feeling like really, really great because, you know, there's no poison in my body anymore. And I'm just drinking a bunch of W energy. We are partnered. In fact, here's a quick word from, I'm not going to do that. So, so I started like, I'm so excited to be awake, which is like such a corny and weird thing to say that like, I'm so happy to be doing the job that I'm doing and doing the podcast that I'm doing and talking to people like you that like, I can't even sleep because I'm just so happy to be alive, which is like such a weird flex. But I say all that to say, I've been taking right before I go to sleep to make sure I actually sleep through the night. And they've been f***ing with my dreams. I've had nightmares the past 3 nights.
Oh no.
They're bad.
Yeah, that is the worst. That is the worst. That's the risk you take with like taking pills before sleep though, because like they're either gonna put you out and you're gonna sleep like a rock, or you're gonna have like very intense, detailed, wild.
So vivid. And they're like so direct. You know how you have dreams and you're like, I know exactly what this is based off of loosely, but I'm still gonna forget it in like 4 hours.
Yeah.
These are not like those. These are like very, very specific and very vivid, and they stick with you. You ever have like a bad trip?
Yeah. Twice. Once wasn't really bad as much as it was just like overwhelming and unplanned. But once I had the not legal way, a guy who was at my work and was like, hey, please, and I was like, okay, cool. And like people warned me, but the thing is, I'm stubborn. They were like, this is really strong, you need to you know, watch out, be careful. And I was like, whatever. So I like half of it. I'm like, oh, this is not a big deal at all. And I fell asleep. Like I got to a level of high that I was like not necessarily cool with, so I'm like, I'm just gonna go sleep. I'm gonna
Of
wake up.
course, the
It'll be
smartest
okay.
thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah. I was so high, I woke up freaked out. Like I woke up confused, like in the middle of the night, like it was raining, and I was like,
Everything is wrong right now.
oh, like not okay. So that, and then the other time was Thanksgiving because I did ate
Oh.
some little cookies because I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to be around my extended family, and I'm queer, and that's not great. And I was like, I can handle it. And then I ate more than I should have, and I was overwhelmed. So I just hung out in my little brother's room with my partner all night because like he's 13, he's not hanging out with the family anyway. So we just like hung out in there and played like Fall Guys and stuff. And he like kept laughing at me because I was too high. I was like, I'm sorry, like this, I'm being a bad influence right now. Please don't do drugs.
Getting really high and playing Fall Guys during Thanksgiving festivities is really great. When I was talking earlier about the flower massacre thing and I was like completely jumbling it, like I didn't even know if it was a real thing. I was like, I don't know if I dreamed of a flower massacre in Gaza or if that was actually a thing. So I Googled it and it's a real thing. So the flower massacre, it happened in Gaza on the 29th of February, which was like
A minute ago.
like a minute ago.
Like a minute ago.
At least 118 people were killed and 780 injured after Israeli forces opened
I'm sorry, what was that?
Israeli forces opened fire on civilians seeking food from aid trucks near the Al Nabazui roundabout on the central, in Gaza. So basically, they dropped some aid in there, and then some people went to get it, and then they killed 118 people, which is like kind of bad. Sounds like the lemonade stand. It's fucked up.
It's just straight up not good. So yeah, I did not know that it was called that. I had heard about it, but when you said like the flower massacre, like the flower thing, I was like, yeah, I don't really know what that is, but like I did know about the aid thing. But yeah, no, and it definitely does make sense as to why you thought you might have dreamed it, because my very realistic dreams are also causing me to like dream like weirdly specific realistic things that like actually could happen. So like I woke up yesterday and I was like, I think I dreamt that my work schedule had changed. And like I like got up and like checked the app because I was like, I'm so sure that I like looked and I had been switched from night shift to day shift, which would have been a problem because it was, time for me to be at work when I woke up. But I was just dreaming it and it was fine.
So here's my brain is weird, and I'm going to talk about a thing that sounds completely unrelated, but it 100% has to do with the flower massacre. Okay, so just follow me, right?
This is going to be ridiculous.
You're familiar with Jersey Shore, right?
Yes.
So I'm watching it with my wife for like probably the 4th or 5th time. And every time we watch it, somehow it gets worse. Like as you get older, you're like, this is really bad stuff. There's this thing that happened between Ron and Sam in their relationship where one day Ron was really upset with Sam. So he destroyed everything in her room. And he even he like threw her bed. It's not funny, but it's like it's ridiculous. It's absurd. It's okay. It's funny. I don't care. He like threw her bed. Like he pulled out all of her drawers, just throwing her stuff around, just yelling obscenities. And she's not even there. She's not even there when this is happening. So he's like having a full on like tantrum with no audience. Like he's just there like the Tasmanian devil, just snapping. Just ruins all of her stuff, like breaks her glasses. Sammy's sweetheart wears glasses to see. You wear glasses, I'm wearing glasses. The glasses are important. He broke her glasses when she wasn't even there, okay? So she comes home and she sees all of her stuff destroyed. And obviously it's devastating. It's not just like a tornado hit. Like this is like your person, like you're in love with them and they wrecked all of your stuff. Broke her glasses and she walks out to like the balcony or wherever the jacuzzi is, whatever, and she's just holding the glasses like this is kind of wild. Like you're like a crazy person. And they get back together, obviously, and that's insane. And every single time Ron and Sam had a fight or Ron was throwing things back in Sam's face that she did, I would say this to my wife, and I've said it like 100 times since we started rewatching it. It's like, I just feel like we never addressed that he destroyed all of her stuff.
Yeah.
And I bring that up every single time they get in a fight. He's like, well, you were texting other guys. I'm like, well, you broke her glasses.
Yeah.
You threw her bed out of her room.
Yeah.
And it's like, how does that relate to what's happening in Gaza? So the flower massacre is one of those situations where they brought this aid under the guise that they were helping these people, and then they killed 100 people. And I feel like no matter what happened before that or what happens after that, it's like that thing is kind of so fucked up where it's like it doesn't really matter what the other side did, because it's like we can all agree that like that's not good. Shouldn't have done that. And it just kind of baffles me that some people are aware of this thing that happened and are still like, nah, but the other guys are like what they're doing is bad. Like, how could you not take Israel's side?
Yeah.
Like, we can't just forget that this flower massacre thing happened.
Yeah, and I think that like American news is actually being like, I hate to even give them the credit, but like really smart about the way that they're doing this, because they're obviously trying to maintain support for what they're doing with like funding the Israeli army. And so all of the like I said, Democrat and Republican news sources, all of them are, you know, on the same page about it for the most part, that are on the side of Israel. And they were like, well, if you're not on the side of Israel, you're being anti-Semitic, and it's the same thing that caused the Holocaust. And I'm like, look, just isn't. It just isn't. And like people are so worried about being called anti-Semitic and like being on like the side of people who like hate Jewish people, and they're so concerned about it that they're like not even looking into it, and they're like, well, I support Jewish people, and so I support Israel. And it's like, it's not even about that. Like,
yeah, I don't think anybody, you know what, I'm not afraid of being canceled because I don't even have anything that's enough to be worried about losing. So I side with like people not fighting if that's possible. I don't really care who's done more bad stuff. I remember there was this really funny controversy. Not funny, but it's just funny that people were arguing about it. They were like, well, in Gaza, they were beheading babies. And they were like, they didn't actually behead the babies. They just shot them. And it's like, what a weird thing to even argue about. They're like, they didn't cut the head off. They just took it and then they killed it in front of the family, but they didn't chop the heads off. Okay, they just shot it like 64 times. And it's like, what are we even talking about right now? Yeah. They're like, there's all this fake information about how these children are being killed. Can we get the facts right? And I'm like, but they're dead though.
Yeah, like they killed children. Like that's
So I just think that
what else happened.
It's super easy for people to get like lost in the sauce trying to figure out like who did what worse, and they're not even focused on the fact that like people are just getting killed out here, and it's like really I would just like it to stop. So let me ask you this: what is your goal, if you have one, with the sharing of the posts that you do, knowing that there are people like me that might potentially mute you for 2 months?
I mean, I think that ultimately, I completely respect people needing to take like mental health breaks from stuff like that. But I think that staying silent is just basically you're on the side of the oppressor. You know, like the whole like being devil's advocate, you're saying that on some level it doesn't bother you enough to speak out about it. And that's like totally fine. And this is not me like coming for you or anything, but it is a really privileged position to be able to take and say like, oh, I don't want to see this. I don't want to hear about it, when there are people who are, you know, starving, who are, you know, burying their children, whose entire bloodline has been wiped out in a week, you know. When people are able to speak on that, I think that they should. And I think that even if I like share one post that, you know, informs one single person to be on the right side of history, then it's fine. I did it.
I totally agree with you. And that's why, you know, we're talking about it right now, because I was in a place where I was like, I don't want to do this. This is stupid.
The next portion of this podcast is me talking about a conversation I had with somebody close to me.
When we were having this conversation, I was thinking about your Facebook post about Gaza. And I was like, damn, you're like mad privilege right now. Like, you're really worried about like some and there are some people whose kids are getting like kidnapped and murdered. So like we gotta fucking keep things in perspective, dog. And that's why I was like, this is probably really a good time for me to talk to Elizabeth about this, because I've just been like putting this off as if it's not a thing that's happening, but it's one of those things that like just isn't stopping. I'm the type of person to where like if I wake up one day with like a pain in my arm or like a crick in my neck, I'm like, if I just ignore this long enough and drink water, it'll go away. Unfortunately, the situation in Gaza is not like that. And it's still going. You remember the Russia-Ukraine conflict type thing. People seem to have let that go, I guess. No one cares anymore, which is, you know, whatever, internet. But I think it really says something that this Gaza thing is like, it's still hot, like it's still popping. And, somebody should do something. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's definitely just like one of the things about it is like I understand like it is hard to live in America right now. Like there's so much bad news all the time, and I get like just wanting to like go on Facebook and look at memes, or like go on TikTok and watch people do like funny dances or slap tortillas, and I get that. I really do. But like I am able to be like, I can do this. Like, I don't mind to share this post. I don't mind for people to mute me on Facebook because I'm bringing, awareness
Yeah,
to it.
because you're doing the right thing.
But that being said, I'm used to people deleting me or muting me on Facebook. Because I share things that piss people off. And
Is that something that happens? I wouldn't say frequently, but like, does it happen enough to where you're like, oh man, I'm like actively pissing people off like monthly?
No, most of the time people don't make me aware of it. But I definitely had a coworker one time that we were like talking about Facebook. And she was like, oh yeah, like she was like, I actually had to delete you a while back because you just kept posting like stuff about vaccines. And I was like, oh, that's why I haven't seen you on my feed in a year. And she was like, yeah, well, my kid is like vaccine injured. And I'm like, no, I totally get it if your kid is vaccine injured. And then like later I found out that her kid is autistic, not vaccine. And I'm like, baby, no. Like she thinks the autism is the vaccine injury and is the reason. And like,
dog, what?
Opinions, it's fine. Like if I was thinking like her kid had like a bad allergic reaction that caused.
Yeah, I was thinking like he has like a zit the size of like an apple on his back after the vaccine or something. I don't know.
Like your kid's not autistic because you gave her the polio vaccine. That's not what happened.
Thank you once again to my dear friend Elizabeth for joining the show. If you like what you're listening to, if you're on YouTube, please leave a like and subscribe. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please leave us a 5-star rating. You can leave whatever review you want. I don't even care. But 5 stars would be really cool. It's good for the algorithm or whatever. We are officially partnered with Dubby Energy. And I decided that, if Derek's going to stop drinking, then maybe his editors should stop drinking too. I've just been drinking Dubby. Keeps me hydrated, keeps me focused, keeps me energized. So I highly recommend you check it out. Use code Derapy at checkout for 10% off. Love you, mean it. Enjoy the outro. Goodbye.
Thank you so much for joining me in Derapy today. New sessions every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Please leave a 5-star rating.
Why is nobody disrespecting me back? Because they're just not good enough to disrespect me. That's the problem.
Know y'all sick and tired of me talking about my hot wife, so here's another line where I just say that she is not cold. I talk a lot of ambold, I'm Kyrie with the handle, I'm Josh and I'm more like Drake, and this just the preamble. Right around town I'm grinding, I put in time, and I'm the master of rhyming, I'm the master of timing. It just took patience, just started wearing a watch. Oh, not to mention I'm rocking a ring, looking more forward to rocking more bling. Keep it low key, I'm scary, I don't want beef unless I'm at a steakhouse. I'm the man, got no house, got a plan, sell an ounce. I'm just playing, it's a joke, you keep quiet, just stay mouse. Got the key, I'm like Khaled, but the thing is I'm no hater. Give my props to Bunny Hop, I got love for the creator. Woo, woo. Just got my money up, I just hit the lotto and the currency is happiness. Y'all think that it is blasphemous, well you don't know the half of it. I just checked the analysis, this rap shit I done mastered it. That's an and1, dunking on the ops like I'm 6'5", spitting like a newborn, but I have better manners. New crib like a manor, I want a baby minor. The haters, they down to fight, I'm giving out free shiners. My blinders, man, they stay on, I'll say again, I'm take on. Black Leah Nissan, pull up in the Nissan, cooler than some Freon. Shine bright like I'm neon, not the best, I'm beyond it. Believe it. You can't sit at my table, I'm Kanan, you are able. You sitting around on TikTok, I'm trying to make my wrist rock. You trying to get your rocks off, I'm trying to